I'm going to call to order the Anchorage Election Commission public session of the canvass and the adoption of the election canvass report. And the time is 5:41. And if we could have roll call, please.
Joyce Anderson.
Here.
Glennis Ireland.
Here.
Cynthia Hawkins.
Here.
Pat Abney.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We also have present with us,
Barbara Jones, Municipal Clerk.
we'll go around the table.
Gina Ashman, interpreter.
Liz Edwards, Election Coordinator.
Erica McConnell, election worker.
Yeah.
Dean Gibbons, Assembly Council.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, let's go to item number 3 on our agenda, which is the minutes of the previous meetings. We have before us the minutes of the Anchorage Election Commission public session of canvass of April 12th of 2019, which was the election last year. So we now have the minutes before us. Are there any questions from committee members? Okay, we have had a move of approval from Pat Abney. Do we need a second, Barbara? We do. I'm not sure how this committee works. I'm on so many. Second by Glennis Ireland. Okay, we have had a motion that has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, we'll hearing no further discussion, we'll take a vote. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. The minutes of April 12th, 2019 have been approved. Under 3B, we have the minutes of the Anchorage Election Commission meeting of January 22nd of 2020 this year, which was our organizational meeting. Pat Abney has moved approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Cynthia Hawkins seconds. Second, I mean. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes have been approved of January 22nd, 2020. Old business. Is there any old business before the commission?
Madam Chair, before you get to your new business, I'd like to make an announcement on the record that when we publicly noticed this meeting, we noticed that it would be closed, the election center was closed to the public. We followed the protocol that the Anchorage Assembly has used due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and we announced to the public that we would accept testimony until 4:00 p.m. at the elections@muni.org email address. And we also announced that if people wanted to testify at this meeting, that they would let us know at the elections@muni.org. And I would like to let you know that we did not get anyone that wanted to provide written testimony or anyone that wanted to provide telephonic testimony. We did make a post on Facebook, on the Municipal Clerk's Facebook post, that said that the public session of canvass is happening, and if anybody has any comments, they can include those on Facebook. So Liz is set that up, and we may check with her, and she may let us know if there's any comments.
Okay. Thank you, Barbara. Okay, now we're into old business. Is there any old business? Hearing none, we will move on to new business, which is the review of the pending rejected ballot envelopes. So we previously met in a work session and had gone through quite a few of the rejected ballots. We did not finish that. So I think what we will do is we will start at the beginning and go through the ones that we've already approved, and then we will get to the point where we will take and look at the ballots that were not brought up at the work session due to time constraints. So I will start with a canvas worksheet, which you should have in front of you, dated April 7th for the regular municipal election. Reject code D, duplicate ballot voted. This code is used when it has been determined that the voter has cast more than one ballot. So there were 3 of those, and the Election Commission did look at those already. Barbara Jones has them in front of her. If there's any questions, We did look at them and review them and had no changes to what the clerk's office had given us for the 3 rejected code D. So is there a motion to approve 3 rejected duplicate ballot voted envelopes under reject code D?
I so move. Second.
Okay, we'll go with Cynthia moved and Pat seconded. Okay, is there any discussion regarding these 3 rejected ballot envelopes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We have 3 rejected voter envelopes, reject code D. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we need to go through all of the codes or only those that have issues?
Only the ones that have issues.
All right, thank you. So we will go down to reject code E, which is a ballot return envelope, empty or contained other materials. This code is used if a voter's ballot envelope does not contain a voted ballot or contains other materials. There were 2 under this reject code, which the Commission looked at during the work session. We had no questions at that time, so if I could have a motion to approve reject code E, 2 is the number of voters.
So moved.
Glennis has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Pat has seconded. Now, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item on the agenda, or the next reject code, is E1, which is ballot returned with or without return envelope, unable to identify voter. This code is used when a voter returned a ballot in a security or other envelope without the return envelope to identify the voter. There were 20 of those. We reviewed them during our work session. Agreed at that time. So is there a motion to approve reject code E1, ballot returned with or without return envelope, unable to identify voter?
So moved.
Pat has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Glennis has seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next reject code is G, voter failed to provide identifying information. This code is used when it has been determined that the voter failed to provide ID at an AVC or failed to provide an identifier such as a voter number, which would be the last 4 as a voter number or the last 4 digits of their social security number or year of birth, and cannot otherwise be identified. There were 4 ballot envelopes that we reviewed. Had no questions at that time. Is there a motion to approve reject code G for 4 voters?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we'll go with Cindy and Pat. Cindy motion, Pat seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, on page 2 of the Canvas worksheet, reject code M, multiple ballots in 1 envelope. This code is used if there was more than 1 ballot in the voter's envelope. To the extent possible, the voter and other household members, if obvious, were provided replacement ballots. And there are 5. So I'd like to have Barbara Jones just provide a little bit of background on this one.
On this one, Commissioners, there are 5 envelopes. We have identified approximately 10 voters. We believe that there were 2 voters per each of these envelopes, and none of them were accepted because the ballot envelopes contain an A-B or 2 A's or 2 B's instead of an AA or a BB. And that's inappropriate when someone else voted that other ballot.
Okay, is there any further discussion, Barbara, by you or explanation?
No.
That should do it? Okay. All right. Pat moves approval of reject code M, 5 voters, and Glennis seconds. So we have a motion and it's been seconded. Is there any further discussion on reject code M? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Oh, okay. There's
we need to take a moment? Okay, reject code MOA, which means not registered in the municipality of Anchorage. This code is used when voters' records show that the voter was registered outside of the municipality of Anchorage. We reviewed 7 voter envelopes during our work session, and they all were registered outside of the municipality. Is there a motion to approve the reject code MOA for 7 voters?
So moved.
Glennis moves, a second. Pat seconded, okay. All right, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to go down to reject code R, which is voter return ballot envelope and asked to be removed from the voter rolls. So we looked at 16 of those, and the voter had indicated through written statements that they wanted to be removed from the voter rolls. So there were 16 of them. All 4 of us reviewed all 16 of those. Is there a motion to approve reject code R for 16 voters?
Move to approve.
Cynthia moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Glennis seconds. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, reject code V, ballot received too late. This code is used if a ballot, 1, is received after 8 p.m. on election day via email or fax, or at one of the accessible vote centers or drop boxes, or 2, is mailed from within the United States and postmarked on or before election day, but not received before the beginning of the public session of canvass, which is today. We reviewed all 19 of those. Is there a motion to approve reject code M for 19 voters?
So moved.
Pat moved.
Second.
Glennis seconded. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, it's, which code are we on right now?
We're on V.
V. Okay, go ahead.
So for V, there's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We are now at W. Ballot postmarked or voted after Election Day. This code is used when it has been determined that the ballot is postmarked or witnessed after Election Day. The total on here shows 413 on our worksheet, but there were 2 that came in, so we're going to change that total to 415. Also, all 4 commissioners reviewed all of the ballots that were postmarked or voted after Election Day, and we found 2 that should be accepted. So we are changing that total to 413. So is there a motion to approve reject code W, ballot postmark voted after Election Day for 413 voters?
So moved.
Glennis moves, a second. Pat, seconded? Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are at a point in our meeting where this is as far as we proceeded during our work session. So now we are on reject code XX, which means voter is deceased. The code is used to determine that the voter is not registered to vote. And there were 40 of those. So we're going to take a minute to look at those.
Now, I have to tell you, I saw that number 40 deceased voters, and I thought that can't be right. And last year you had 5. It was a typo. There's only 4.
Oh, thank you.
So here you go.
We will change our worksheet to 4. I was beginning to wonder myself why we had 40. This is interesting. One included a death notice with the envelope. Okay, so I'm going to pass these 4 around for commissioners to look at. Glennis?
These 6.
Hmm? Yes. He spelled deceased wrong.
Oh,
School teacher.
mhm. Did you know I read that and did not know what that said? It just didn't comprehend.
I figured it was in that pile, so
Yeah.
I realized what it was, but I agree with you, it was not spelled right.
What's the student gloves, Dean asks? Dean asked if he's supposed to have gloves.
That's up
Oh.
to you.
You may, if you want. It's up to you.
I just still have the name.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all the commissioners have had a chance to look at the 4 that were rejected. So is there a motion to approve reject code XX, voter is deceased, for 4 ballots?
I move.
Okay, Cynthia has moved, is there a second?
Second.
Glennis has seconded, is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we are now down to reject code Z, which is voter failed to sign ballot return envelope. This code is used to determine if it is determined that the voter did not sign the ballot return envelope or the required voter certificate. 89. So it'll take us a couple minutes to look at those.
Okay, Madam Chair, there are actually 87 envelopes. Between the time that we set up the worksheet until the public session of Canvas started, we received 2 cure letters.
Okay.
So there are 87 in that batch.
Okay. Why don't we, you want to give these to Pat? Pass those down to Cindy. Okay, what we're looking for is a signature.
And for the commissioners, we have 87 in that reject code this year. We had 76 last year.
Okay.
So it's similar.
Last year.
76 last year and 87 this year.
You didn't switch the numbers.
Pardon? Did I switch
Numbers
the
were
numbers?
switched.
Okay.
87.
Oh, got it.
Close. noticed that some didn't put a return address and some did, and, you know, it kind of goes both back and forth, but they didn't sign, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, so on that one is a stamp. So a stamp is not an acceptable signature.
And this one has an X, but that doesn't count either, because there's
and-
no witness.
Correct.
Okay.
This one has a witness with no signatures.
Well, then that's, even if they put an X. Here we go. Yeah, I didn't know that one. Well, there definitely are some interesting ones. This one said it was the father that signed for this person. And this is the one that Pat brought up where somebody signed for somebody else with their name. And I'm not going to read what this one says. It's in my hand, that's why I couldn't find it. It's on my arm. Jeez.
Which ones are those over there? Just stamp isn't counted.
No.
So these need to be reviewed.
No, a stamp doesn't count, Barbara said.
And you can understand why a stamp can't count because I can have your stamp.
Right.
And then if I vote your ballot with the stamp on, we can't count that.
So what was the, okay, you said the number last year was 76, okay.
Right.
So Barbara, maybe you want to explain for anybody that might be listening to this, what happens when they don't sign their signature. You talked about a cure letter. If you want to just elaborate on that a little bit.
Right. The code requires us to send a cure letter within 3 days for all ballots that have signature challenges. And Erica did that this year. Maybe she can tell you a little bit about that. It was a challenging but not too overwhelming experience.
Because of the pandemic this year, as you know, the number of election workers was significantly reduced from years past. So I was essentially the only person working in review and resolution this year, and we had 1,064 challenged ballots. We got cure letters out for no SIGs to, the vast majority. I think there was one or two where they were processed so close to today that there wasn't time for them to get a letter and return a SIG. But we certainly got more responses for no SIGs than we did for anything else, because presumably most people who don't sign it was just an accident.
And then what was the process for them to provide a signature?
So we emailed them, we mailed them a letter that says that they didn't sign their ballot envelope and a form that has their name and their ballot ID on the form, and it provides them information on how to return the form. They have to provide an identifier, so either their birth date, their voter ID number, or the last 4 digits of their social security number, and then there's a place for them to sign, or they can put an X and there's a place for a witness to print and sign. And then they can mail that back to us. Before the election, they could put it in a Dropbox. They could email it to us. They can fax it to us. At the very end, we got a couple that were hand-delivered. We then adjudicate the signature on the form against the reference signature, and if it matches, then what we would do is we would make a photocopy of it, and we would cut out the signature on the photocopy and tape it to the ballot envelope and rerun it through the sorter so that we have a reference signature for next year.
Okay, wonderful. I'm glad that that there was not only just mail, but fax and email and, in person, drop boxes, whatever. Those, I think that's every option that's available. Okay.
You said 1,064, and then after the kilograms, how many different ads left that hadn't been killed?
I can look that up for you, but I think essentially most of the things that are many of the things that are on this worksheet are ones that were not cured. So the 87 failed to sign. It looks like it's going to be 348 with a no signature match and 21 with a no reference signature. Those were ones that did not get cured. And there were some of the others, but everything's on this worksheet.
You need to add them on the list.
Yeah.
How's it going, commissioners?
I have a question, but this one I think has not gone by everyone yet, so I don't know if I should
okay.
ask it yet or wait.
Okay.
So, Commissioners, I just did a calculation. Erica said there were 1,064 challenged ballot envelopes, and the number that we have on your worksheet, less the ballots that were postmarked after Election Day, the 413, because those were not challenged ballots. They just aren't part of that. That's 543. So the difference between the total challenge ballots that Erica had, less the 543, is 521. So that means 521 people about responded to the cure letters, or in some fashion or other, if they got one.
Yeah, there were some things that you were able to resolve without actually sending
those were from,
a cure letter. But I would say the majority of those were cure letters.
These I've already seen. Yeah, I recognize it.
Which is about like 50% of the challenges were resolved, so that's really pretty good.
So there's a you rolling down.
For the no sig match, that would be a great idea, the next big batch. Oh, yeah, there's no reason to do that, really.
Yes. These here, yes.
These here,
Yes, right.
this one that says you sign for this person. That's massive.
No, because, one of the things that we talk a lot about voting is voting is a personal right. And a guardian cannot sign for you. Someone who has a power of attorney cannot sign for you. So it doesn't matter if someone else signs the ballot for you. it is not acceptable.
You have to make a moral list and then witness.
And then have the witness.
That's correct.
Make an exit.
Yes.
These are the last ones that have the definition.
All right, I think we're gone around. Yeah, because I've already seen those.
Did you have a question on one, Cindy?
It was the one that, there was no cure letter sent. I think it was right there on top.
I've got it right here.
You do, okay.
It says no cure letter sent.
So that was a situation where instead of being marked and adjudicated no sig match or no sig, it was adjudicated other challenge. And I'm afraid due to the workload, I was very much focused on the no sigs, no sig matches, and no ref sigs. So the other challenges ended up, I ended up a little behind on those, and I did not get to that one in time to send out a
Okay.
letter.
Just that one.
Yes.
Yep, okay. This one also had a note on it in the signature line. It also had a note that this person put. No, that's okay.
Right.
I wasn't going to read it, but it says vote by mail is a scam.
Yeah.
So that's what they wrote on the signature line.
But in a perfect world, he would have gotten a cure letter and an opportunity to cure it.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
Are these, Pat's still looking at some?
Maybe when she already saw some.
Okay, all right. Okay, the commissioners are done reviewing all 87 of these rejected ballot envelopes. So is there a motion to approve reject code Z, voter failed to sign ballot, return envelope number 87 were returned? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Glennis moves, Pat seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So the next item is Z1, which is no signature match on ballot return envelope. So they're saying that this code is used if the voter's signature on the ballot return envelope doesn't match the signature. And I'll have Barbara explain where the signatures are coming from that they're being matched to.
So you're not going to want to review these because you don't know what a signature match is. The code does say you have to have training. We have had the Washington State troopers come down and do signature training for us for 2 years. This year, due to COVID-19, we had them scheduled and we canceled on the day before they were supposed to come. And then we just did training internally and we used their materials. And I think it was a pretty good training. So in this category, Erica, is this the category where we have the 13 that are still pending? So of these, there are 13 somewhere.
That's those in your hand.
Okay, and what we are doing is this is where we asked the chair if we could give these voters until a couple more days. So these voters got a cure letter. This ballot, for example, I can't tell when that envelope came in. Let me tell you one that is better. This envelope came in on March 23rd, and we sent the voter a cure letter, and the voter got back to us, but it's still no signature match. And so the problem is we wanted to give them one more chance, and so we sent an email to them. If they had email or phone, we contacted or emailed these 13 voters. So thank you very much for giving them an extra deadline. So then before your work session, I wanted to check with the municipal attorney and an assembly council to see what we could do about this. And I believe Dean and Eric or Liz have been shuttling back and forth information, and I believe that Dean has a solution for us. Do you want to make the recommended solution?
Yes, sure. So the code does require the rules and objections to be done for this session of times. But what you can do is say that a ballot will be accepted if this cure is effectuated and verified. And so the agency's demand that it will be accepted. And then the issue though is your final report will have final numbers. So we have some conditional on some that might give extra time than what you say is required. And we can, on our agenda today, recess the meeting and have continued meeting Monday or Tuesday. After you see who's coming in here and that the conditions that you said are necessary. Update the right numbers, the final numbers under report, and then approve it. And that's 5B on your agenda. So you could recess. You would need to notice the continuing meeting 24 hours before then the notices page. Have a meeting and get from the clerk staff, which submit the cure requirements and update the numbers and approve a final report after continuing meeting. So you can decide when to continue to what Monday or Tuesday. Enough time to finalize the report before the Tuesday night meeting.
And the best news is they can meet telephonically.
Oh, yes. So
be my
I know
question.
that we talked about that a year ago or so, and we didn't get that amended. However, last Tuesday we simply approved an ordinance that was proposed by the administration that applied to all boards and commissions, and it basically says in a board and commission in its adjudicatory capacity, doing a proclaimed emergency by the mayor like we are now, may telephonically participate in this telephonically, but in an adjudicatory capacity like this. And I checked this language just means Title 4, the general boards and commissions meaning title. But I verified election commissions in Title 4 refers to the rest of the sections of this commission in Title 20. So we're covered to participate by phone.
Okay. So Barbara has, thank you very much, Dean. Barbara has indicated that she has given them till noon on Monday just because the letters just went out. So let's, as a commission, discuss, is it the will of the commission that we do this telephonically? Is it the will of the commission that we do it in person? Really it would be our decision as to whether we feel we need to come in here or we just need to have the municipal clerk, Barbara, explain to us, what's happened since the letters have come out. So I'll open it up for discussion.
Madam Chair, the only thing I would observe is that unless there is some reason for us to have to look at something, touch it, or to take a look at it, there wouldn't be any reason why we shouldn't be able to proceed with telephone.
That leads me to my question is that we do have to sign the report. So when would the signature part, when would we be able to do that? So Dean, is that an issue? I just thought I'd throw that out. I mean,
I'm not sure. Madam Cook, do you know?
Don't we have to attend the assembly meeting and then
there's no one attending assembly meetings right now. Glennis wanted to know about attending assembly meetings, so no, but we normally do.
Yeah, right.
So my big question is
I do recall, I think it was one of the governor's health mandates, and there was, I need to verify what it says, but there was something about the governor or leader, perhaps, I think it was the governor, saying that electronic signatures would be accepted without days. Actually, I need to verify where that came from. If it was the governor, it might have been the court system, but there was some order out there saying during this period you can see that electronic signatures would be honored, so you could do it that way. But
Okay.
the S/ you know, maybe can communicate that or authorize your signature on the document.
so my thought would be then that if this is permitted, that we can do electronic signatures, I would not see a reason that we need to meet in person. We could call a meeting and do it telephonically. And then if Barbara could give us an updated worksheet, not worksheet, but, well, I'll call it a worksheet, but an updated Canvas report. If we were to have that, then we'd have something in front of us. Because I always like to have paperwork in front of me when I'm doing something by telephonically. I don't see any reason why we need to meet in person. So, Pat, what's your feeling on that? Okay, Cindy?
Yes.
Glennis?
I have a question. When did this go out to these people?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Is Monday sufficient time for them to respond?
We've gotten a number of responses, probably 7 or 8 maybe. So we've gotten a lot of responses.
I would say telephonically was fine.
Okay.
Electronic signatures.
Okay, so telephonically and an electronic signature, does everyone have the capability of signing and PDFing? I use the PDF, sending it back to Barbara. You can do that. Cindy, you can do
I
that.
don't know, but we work on that.
Pat, can you do that?
I think
Can you
so.
sign it and then make a copy and send it back to Barbara via email? Okay, you're not sure?
I am.
Oh, you can do that. Okay, I call it a PDF. That's what. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we're all capable of doing an electronic signature.
Okay.
So I would say that that should work. So at the end of the meeting, we won't do that now because we're still going through these. We'll set a date for our next meeting. Okay. Barbara, I'd also like you to just explain for the record too where the signatures are coming from that you're using as reference. I think it's important for whoever's going to listen to the meeting to understand that, especially in light of this discussion.
Right. The reference signatures come from the state of Alaska voter registration database. So Liz we download the signatures from the state and Liz loads them into our system. How long does it take?
It took almost a full week.
A full week, because the signature file is so big. So the signatures include driver's license signatures, they include signatures from the PFD, they include signatures from the last municipal election, they include signatures from our signature drive, and they include signatures from the state if people voted absentee by mail for the state. There are also some that look an awful like a whole book register. So, and I think those may be ours as well. I think we saved like 4 years of registers. And then we had some of our election workers, Jane Monubi, who still works for us, was one, and they hand scanned all of those signatures into the state voter registration database. So there are lots of signatures in there, but there are still some problems where I think you were talking before about your granddaughter's signature changing, and those ones are not a signature match, and that's why our team has not approved them.
Thank you, Barbara. I think it's very important for anyone who's going to listen to the minutes to this meeting to understand where all the signatures are coming from. Because I think the public out there is still some skeptical of vote by mail, as you said earlier. So, thank you.
Question?
Cindy?
In the situation where people are registering for PFD through, or registering to vote through their PFD application, and if they are new to Alaska, we will not have a signature of record from years past. They potentially could have an ID, a driver's license, I would imagine, or another form of ID that could have a scanned signature. I guess the question is, at the point in time that they sign our envelope, our ballot package envelope, that then becomes their record of signature if they've been able to cure.
Well, I think that is a really interesting and difficult question that we are working on. So one of the things that the Washington State Troopers told us is you've got this pool of reference signatures, and so now we're getting 70,000 new signatures, and we're reviewing and approving those. And then we're adding those signatures to the new reference signature. So his recommendation is you should be circumspect about that. And so Liz and Erica, I've talked to them about working on a project this summer where we review those signatures. For example, we looked at one voter who had 4 or 5 different signatures. It's hard to tell if they're different signatures or if they're different people. But we're going to take a hard look at that this summer and try and make sure that we work with the state and that those are accurate. The other one that I mentioned was the voter who came in and signed and was really upset with us, but the voter signed a full name, like Barbara A. Jones. Well, the reference signature in the database is BAJ. And so we are also going to try to work with the state to figure out how do we get the signature file updated to include that full signature instead of that partial signature. So that's a partial answer, and I know Erica has some more information.
Well, and I just wanted to add that if they are sort of automatically registered to vote through the PFD, but the state doesn't have a signature for them, then the state will create the status ID for them, and that flags in our system, and we will not accept their ballot until we see an ID. So we're not the origination of the first preference signature.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, Barbara, are we looking at 349 or 348 for this total?
The number is 348 right now. One
Okay.
of those was cured while we have been sitting here.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, I thought I heard 348 earlier. Okay. So we're still waiting on those 13 out of this category, but we have right now, I think what I will do is have a motion to approve this total.
I think
And
that's
then
a
when
great
we have
idea.
our meeting, when we set our date, what we would do is we would amend that total to whatever we need to. So is there a motion to approve Z1 reject code, no signature match on ballot return envelope for 348 envelopes?
So
Okay, Glennis and Pat. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, Z2 is no reference signature. This code is used if there is no digital reference signature in the state of Alaska voter registration database. And there are 22 of those. So I think I'll give that back to Barbara to explain what that means. I think we just discussed it, but if you could just...
We did. That is exactly the one thing. I'll let Erica explain the no reference signature, but one of the things that I want to tell you is last year we had 1, and this year we have 21. And I think the answer for that is the last year was not a state election. So the state has a primary election and a general election. and it's going to be a big election because it's a presidential year. The state also bought new election equipment in, I believe, December, and maybe a little bit before that. So they're installing and training on new election equipment that's going to be spread all over the state. So last year, the state was the one that really helped us reduce that number. They're also working from home. And so I think we probably got a little bit less assistance from the state on these because of their workload and because of the pandemic. So that's why I think there's more, but I think Erica can explain to you what we were looking for and what happened with these.
So I'd like to start by mentioning that Barbara said 21, your worksheet says 22. At 3:30 while we were sitting here, a gentleman walked in the door and showed us his ID, and so we were able to reduce that number by 1. I know that maybe this number is higher than it was in past years, but actually I think the state was wonderful. I mean, we probably had over 100, probably 200 no ref sigs come up, and I would email Carol and say, hey, do you have can you find signatures for these people? And she was able to get back to me within 24 hours with the majority of the signatures. And so she would upload them into REMS, and then I would be able to get them out of REMS to look at. So, but if they didn't, if the state did not have a reference signature, then we sent a letter to the voter to say, you need to provide us a copy of your ID so that we can confirm your signature with your ID. And so we had 21 people who did not respond to that cure letter. But we got a lot of new signatures uploaded. Carol was able to find them from the DMV or the PFD or whatever, and she got a lot of signatures uploaded through this process.
Okay, my one question is then, so there's 21 of these voters and they did not respond to a cure letter. Okay, so what happens in the next election? Do these same 21 still do not have a signature match then? Or what is being done between now and, well, let's just say now and the next election?
Let's say now in the August election.
Right.
So if the state runs the election as a poll-based election and they go to the polling location, they have to show ID, and then they'll sign the register, and that may get uploaded into the state voter registration database. If they vote absentee with the state, which the state may have a big push, a lot of jurisdictions are doing that, a push to vote absentee by mail, then the state would capture the signature that way. Otherwise, if the state doesn't capture the signature in some other way, if the person doesn't apply for a driver's license, renewal, or something, then we're going to be in the same place next year. They will not have a reference signature.
Another question then, Barbara. Wouldn't there be a signature on their voter registration form?
Well, it depends how they registered. So if you register online, you can register online with the state.
Yeah, I forgot, sorry.
And then you should have voter ID required if you register that way. So that's one issue.
Okay.
But the other thing is some of these people could have registered to vote before the state converted their system. And so those sometimes Carol has looked on microfiche and found some of these signatures.
Okay, that answers my question. Any questions from other commissioners? Okay. So, is there a motion to approve Z2 no reference signature for 21 ballot envelopes?
I move.
Cindy moves, second.
We haven't looked at this
Well, there's nothing to look at because
Okay.
we're not going to look at them because there's really nothing to look at. I mean, because there's no signature. I mean, they have
On
a signature,
file.
but there's nothing to reference it to. So, is there a second? Glennis seconds Cindy's motion. Okay. Is there any further questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we are now at Reject Code 3, which is ballot voted by someone other than the voter. So there are 3 of those. And Barbara, if you could explain those and then maybe pass those around.
Well, I think this is a symptom of COVID-19. And you can take a look at these. One voter says, got his answers via FaceTime, per phone call with my wife, at college via FaceTime.
So a family member got his answer via FaceTime and voted his ballot, is basically what's being said.
And you know, although it is
This was a phone-
admirable, it's just not allowed by the code.
This is also FaceTime, okay. So it seems very obvious that someone else voted the ballot, and they were gracious enough and,
Honest enough.
I was just gonna say honest, I was trying to think of a good word, but honest is, yeah, honest enough to say that's what they did. Okay, everyone's had a chance to look at those. Is there a motion to approve reject code, or reject code 3, ballot voted by someone other than the voter for 3 ballot envelopes? Okay, Glennis moves. Pat seconded. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we are now on page 4, reject code 6, which states household signature. This code is used when a household member voted the other member's ballot package, replacement ballot issued. So Barbara, if you want to explain that one.
Well, I think Erica can explain this one probably better than I can, and you can take a look at this.
So the husband's name is Robert, and the wife's name, she actually goes by the initials AR, but in the voter registration, her initials are RR. So Robert called us and told us that I didn't take the call, so I can't remember if he said he voted or he just signed, but he signed both his ballot package and his wife's ballot package. And so we issued a replacement ballot package to his wife, who is RR, also known as AR, and she did vote the replacement ballot package, which was adjudicated with an appropriate signature, and so the matter was resolved.
And he also voted his.
And he also voted his, and his signature adjudicated good with his ballot ID.
Okay.
So this could be a duplicate, but he did vote someone else's ballot package, and that's why it's here.
Okay.
So actually, it ended up being 0 that we had.
I'm sorry, Pat, say that again. It ended up.
Well, this is a returned ballot that is not being counted. So.
Okay, is there a motion to approve reject code 6, which is a household signature on the other member's ballot package for 1 ballot envelope? Is there a motion? Pat moves.
Second.
Cindy seconds. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we're down to ballot reject code 9, which is power of attorney, ballot voted by power of attorney. As was stated earlier, power of attorney is not allowed to vote an individual's ballot or to sign their ballot. they have to sign and have a witness. So basically, that's what this is. And this does say POA for that person. This also says power of attorney. Power of attorney. They also put down that the individual has a medical issue. This one says unable to sign, full legal guardian, but the person did not put an X. This says POA. Okay, this one says power of attorney. I don't know if you want me to pass these around. I'll just go through them. This one says POA on it. This one says POA. So they're all pretty obvious that that's what it is, and that so my question maybe to Dean then is, if it says POA on here, does that mean that the person who has the power of attorney voted the ballot and signed it, or does that mean that the person voted the ballot and the power of attorney is signing it? Because this one has an X on it, and that one has initials on it.
So I'll show you for most of the ballots, so there's 7 of them here. So for these 7, the person signed power of attorney on the signature line.
Right.
So you can't count those.
Right.
For these other 2,
Yeah, those are the
we
two
can
I
talk
was-
to you about these ones. So for this one, there's an X, and then the witness is power of attorney. We've included there's a picture of the voter's signature on file. And so our question is whether the voter actually made the X. I think you can look at that, and that was a question that we had. So we'd like you to adjudicate that one. There's another one here that is similar. Here,
Those are the ones that.
the voter
No, I don't think so.
the voter purportedly put initials here, and then the power of attorney witnessed it. But if you look at the signature, the voter's signature on file, this voter makes an S like a G staff. Well, this S is like, a printed S. So it's not the same. It looks more like the POA signed that. So for these 7, they're POA on the signature line. We cannot count those. The other 2, you need to decide.
Okay, here, pass that one down first. Pat, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Refresh my memory on the X.
So what the reject code says, it says, this code is used when the mark or signature on the outside of the envelope appears to have been made by a power of attorney. So typically what happens with an X, if a person can't sign, they're allowed to make a mark, and they make a mark, and then they can have a witness sign. We have accepted a number of those signatures where it appears where someone made a mark and the witness signed. And there are lots of indicia that it's accurate. Sometimes it's a different pen, sometimes it's different pressure. Joyce earlier said something about when people are older or younger, you know, you can see, you can tell that from handwriting, and that's part of the analysis that we do when we look at different signatures. So these ones appear identical to the power of attorney signatures, so we wanted to bring those to your attention.
Dean?
So the code provides for X mark only in terms of special needs voting. And in special needs voting, you have a representative who's actually signed a form to register with the municipal clerk. And that's not the case here, as I understand it. Power of attorney isn't the same thing. So if there's a person with special needs signed in to sign, they can make a mark, and then the registered representative that's assisting the person with special needs. They've registered with the clerk, so they are, and they can make that note. But not by this way that the clerk has described power of attorney.
So is the fact that the power of attorney is written on there make it different then to someone else who might make an X and have a witness? Is it because power of attorney is on it? Do you see where I'm coming from?
That is true. You are correct that that some of those may not have been identified, except that it said power of attorney. That is probably true.
Okay.
And then the follow-up question is, and that is the reason then why these weren't necessarily cured or weren't allowed to be cured, because they weren't necessarily an unmatched signature.
Right, and the problem with a cure letter in this circumstance is, I think it's problematic because there is no cure to this, I don't think.
Well, it appeared to me on that one that it was a much heavier part on the text than it was in the signature, but I don't know.
Take a look at that again.
Looks like it was made by the.
And then look at the signature in the attached. Is the signature in the attached
Yes.
a heavy
Yes.
signature?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't look at that.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Something going to happen to that person. And the time that signature took place.
That's a signature, right?
I think it's a tough call because it's
Okay, well, let's discuss the ballot that Cindy has in her hand. Pat, I'll start with you. What is your feeling on this?
Well, after seeing the signature, I'm not, that's so much heavier, I've seen the signature of either one.
Okay. So are you saying you would reject it? Yes. That's what you're saying. Cindy? comments.
Yeah, I am. I'm getting ready to comment.
No, I just meant I just didn't need a vote. I mean, I mean not a vote, but I mean
So my comment is obviously the same pattern. And when you see the printing of the person who is signing as POA, it looks as though as it could be that person who's signing it. So I can understand the interpretation that the election. So I would say
I guess I feel as well. So we would put it back in the reject pile. And then we had the other one here, which if you need to look at again, let me know. We had several signatures of this individual. And so the person definitely, to me, does not write the way the initials are on here. I don't know if everyone is in agreement with that. Do you want to look at it again, anybody?
I'll look at it.
Okay.
Did you go through this? Did you go through that training?
No.
I did.
But I'd like to.
It's fascinating.
Okay, are commissioners all in agreement then that we would reject this one? Okay, so I will add this to the pile as well. So, is there a motion to approve reject code 9, which is power of attorney, ballot voted by power of attorney, and we have 9 ballot envelopes for that. Is there a motion? Pat moves, second? Second. Glennis seconds. Okay, is there any further discussion among committee members? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we are on the last category, which is reject code 10. Previous election ballot envelope received. That just kind of blows me away.
It did us too.
Is this the first time did we have any last year?
You know, we probably did, but we put them in the reject because they did run through the machine. And so you can just see this one on top is from 2018.
Okay.
The rest are from 2019.
And this doesn't even have a stamp on it, so it was dropped off. 18, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, and 19 and 19. So we had one from 2018.
Were they open?
No,
No.
we didn't open them.
I don't look like it. One from 2018 and 15 from 2019.
Do you want us to open them and confirm that they're
I was just
the?
wondering what if somebody swapped their ballot.
We could check.
I don't know why they.
I
They
mean,
don't feel thick, you know,
like
like
a two-card
they don't feel
ballot.
like a 2-card ballot.
But it could be like the Democratic ones. One of those we returned and it had our ballot inside of it, but
So we'll check them out. But that seems strange. One from 2018 and the rest from 2019.
you can look at the card number if it has 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! Who would leave their ballot sitting around
Yeah,
like that?
1203. Who would be able to find it?
Yeah.
They're very organized and they also keep everything evidently.
Remember the woman who came in with 2 ballots and we're like, oh my God, how does she have 2 ballots? And it was last year's ballot and this year's ballot.
And I guess the mindset that you would think that your vote could still count after 2 years.
Yeah.
She didn't know.
Okay.
I think the 2018 was mailed.
No, that one was the first one. I thought was dropped off.
Was it?
Yeah. So it must have been at a drop-off point or
The weight
box
posted.
or hand delivered or something.
They seem to confuse.
Okay, well, we might as well, good question, we might as well open them all and see.
Well, while she's doing that, do you want to pick a date on Monday or Tuesday to
Yes.
meet?
Monday or Tuesday, does anybody have anything on their schedule that they're running out for? I'm sorry, I was being facetious there.
Actually, I do, but Toyota is coming to pick the car up and it's gonna drop off.
Oh. So Pat, do you have anything on Monday or Tuesday for a teleconference? Barbara, what works for you? You're getting ready for an assembly meeting on Tuesday. Would you rather we do it at, does 4 o'clock sound good? We'll give
On
enough
Monday?
time for Barbara to get her stuff
Yep.
after that. 4
Monday?
o'clock on Monday?
Yep.
4 p.m.? Yes. So we will have a meeting at 4 p.m. on Monday. What's the date Monday?
20th, right?
20th.
15. Here's one.
We have one for this year?
Yeah, so far one.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So at 4 p.m. we're going to teleconference?
Right, Barbara will send out an email and tell us how to do that. Yeah.
Do I have enough time to notice that, Dean? Is that enough notice if I?
I looked, it's 24 hours notice.
Okay, great.
Then post it tomorrow.
Got it.
Saturday.
Got it.
Okay, great. Okay, well, we're finishing opening up these envelopes. So did everybody write that on their calendar, 4 p.m. Monday, April 20th,
Let's see if they
by teleconference, and then we will approve that, and then Barbara, will you get us the paperwork
Uh-huh.
that day?
Oh, yeah.
And then we will sign it and email
Yep.
it back. Okay.
And vote on the remake one.
Right, right.
Yep.
Okay, so my next question is are we going to take a vote on my understanding, and I said this earlier, but I just want to clarify, we're going to take a vote on everyone except that, we'll take a vote on the whole thing. And then we'll make an amendment if we need to when we meet on Monday. Okay.
So I don't have, usually what we do now is do a recess and then adopt your Canvas report. And so we can just wait and I'll do that. So we don't need to recess for preparation of the Canvas report. I'll just send it to you on Monday.
Okay, so we actually would adjourn the meeting then?
You are very close to adjourning the meeting.
But I mean, we will adjourn and not just recess?
No, you'll recess. You
We'll
will
recess.
not-
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I
recess,
meant.
no adjourn.
Okay. All right, well, let's wait a minute.
So this individual has returned a 2020 ballot, and I looked them up, and they have not voted another ballot, and it appears that the signature is a mess. So
Okay, so we're going to change 16 to 15, which is, I'm just going to chuckle about that one the rest of the day. Was that and that was a 2019 envelope?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just curious, I didn't want to make sure it wasn't the 2018 one because that would have been even.
returned by April 2nd, 2019.
So was that postmarked or was that dropped off? I'm just curious.
Dropbox.
It's a drop box, and what date, was it stamped in on a particular day or no? We don't do that? Okay.
Well, we can find out. We know when it was, but
Yeah, okay, all right.
on the database, the ballot by source report. So if you look it up on the Access database, it tells what date and where it came in.
But it would have been a Noski.
Yeah, it hasn't got the disorder.
Yeah, it wouldn't have had the right.
Oh, got it, sorry.
So-
Okay,
We don't
all right.
know.
Just
Sorry.
curious, so it was the drop,
But it
okay.
would have been by April 7th.
Okay, all right. So, do we have a motion to approve reject code 10, previous election ballot envelope received, and the number is 15?
So moved.
Cindy moves, is there a second? Okay, second by Glennis before Pat. Any further discussion on this one? Other than that, we can chuckle. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
So, Madam Chair, I have one other item for you before you adjourn. There is a new provision in the code that Mr. Gates helped us write, and that is that there is an automatic recount if a measure or a race wins or prevails by less than 0.5%, less than 0.5%. And as everybody probably knows, an election administrator's dream is a big spread. Well, we had one proposition that is currently at less than 0.5%. It's at 0.4%, and that is Proposition 1, Life Safety Access Roads. So right now, it looks like we are probably going to have a recount on that proposition. And that should be scheduled sometime in the next week or so. It's supposed to be scheduled within 7 days of the adoption of the Canvas report. So that'll probably be sometime next week. And we'll publicly notice that. After the recount, we'll need you to adopt that that recount effort. So we'll probably convene another meeting for you, another telephonic meeting.
On that spread, how many votes is that?
I don't really remember. It's a couple hundred, isn't it? There's 35,000, I think, that voted in that race.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100 or so.
Well, I know what a recount entails because I was the former director of elections for the city of Minneapolis for so long, but maybe you can explain to the other commissioners what that means.
Well, actually, I am really looking forward to doing a recount with Liz. So we struggled with a recount. Cindy's nodding her head. When the system was installed, we asked Dominion to show us how to do a recount. And they tried, and it blew up. And they said, oh, this doesn't work. And so I was pretty worried that first year and last year that there might be a recount. Well, we have been talking to Dominion about that. And in January, Liz and I met with the representative from Dominion. He taught us how to do a recount. And then we did the logic and accuracy testing. I believe that was about March 3rd. And then Erica, Liz, and I did a recount on the logic and accuracy testing. So we've had a good practice once, and once with the Dominion rep. So I think we feel okay about it. So and the code, the new code says that you look at the electronic images. So we'll just be, I think
That's what I wanted you to get into because it's a little bit different than doing a paper one.
The way the process works is we'll just isolate the electronic images for that race. It'll retabulate them, we'll re-adjudicate them, and hopefully the results will be identical.
All right. And how long are you anticipating that would take?
Probably a half a day.
yeah.
I was going to say half a day to a day. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's 71,
Right.
199.
Oh, good.
And that will be noticed as well.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So do we need an overall approval of these Canvas numbers? We've done them individually, so I can't imagine that we need, any grand total of them all. So we've approved our worksheet. And we will do the adoption of the election canvas on Monday at 4 o'clock after we have a result from those, I believe it was 13 letters that were sent out, 13 cure letters. Okay, so B is still on our agenda. So why don't we move on to member comments? Are there any comments from members, commission members at all? Anybody have anything to say?
I would just like to say I would like to have come down to witness your challenges this year because of my prior experience with elections. But I also knew that it was all in good hands and that thankfully this wasn't the first elections for a mail-in vote. From my point of view, I think I did very wrong. I think I need to congratulate everybody on the elections and associated with the elections.
And I would ditto that as well, because, well, I wasn't here for a whole month, but I kept getting emails about different things that were going on, and I think, Barbara, you had it well under control. I totally agree with Cindy that this is, I'm sure glad it wasn't the first year for vote by mail, because that would have been just too much of a stressor in some ways. So I'm glad it wasn't the first year, but considering the situation that we're in now, I agree. It went very well. And I wish I had been able to come down here as well, but I did not.
I think
Pat?
we ought to pass a resolution thanking those people who showed up and did that job.
Yes.
I agree. I think that would be a great idea. Barbara?
Yes.
Yes. So,
Would you like me to prepare that from the commission?
yes,
Okay.
that would be great. Thank you, Pat.
I'd also like to thank Barbara and the office team for the job that they did under such extreme circumstances and pressure. It appears to have gone smoothly, and we're very, very grateful. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Barbara, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No.
And Dean, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Oh, I just want to thank everyone for the work you did being Chinese and diligent in reading the report and notes and everything. And it's especially impressive that the clerk and staff that are doing this public health emergency. Congratulations.
Okay.
It's enough to say, after having no feeling the elections down there, I wanted to come down and help.
Okay, so public comment. Was there anyone online? Anybody sent an email?
For the record, as of this time, there have been no comments or messages for tonight's event.
Okay, all right, so we have no public comment. All right. So is there a motion to recess until Monday, April 20th at 4 p.m.? Pat, that motion to recess, we don't need a second for a recess, do we?
I don't know the answer to that, but that sounds fine.
Okay. Cindy will second, just in case we need one. I'm not sure.
All right.
I would have to say I'm not sure on a recess either, because I don't think I've ever recessed a meeting. I've always adjourned meetings, so I'm
Okay.
not sure. Okay, so we are adjourned, and the time is 7:08. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you.